We're still keeping up? Yeah? Yeah? This was the last series of the 27th, which leaves 3 more series before I'm back in track. And this is the first one from Latin America. Latin America's playoffs are fairly short and quick. They have only 3 playoff series, usually. It's not good, but then again, this is also, I think, arguably one of the most creative regions. And it shows, because this is by far my most... I like this pick band, even though some of the choices are questionable. I like this because at least it shows some creativity. I jumped the gun. Hi, this is Vision Denial. This is the Road to MSI where I watch every playoff series. Yes, even that one. Before MSI goes around. And, well, we've got... Can I do this right? Nope. All Knights versus Rainbow 7. This ends in a 3-1, with All Knights going up against Rainbow 7. All Knights winning. Rainbow 7 is recognized, however, most of what was recognizable about Rainbow 7 has now just, left it. Which, kind of shows they weren't as, gung-ho about doing something absolutely crazy this series. But, I'm happy to see that the organization still made top 4 in the region. That being said, I didn't know Wadid was in All Knights. It's just such a surprise. I love watching playoff series from every region, because then you find out where some of the players went that are from the major 3, 4, technically, if you want to count North America. Point being, All Knights has both Ruin, who used to be of CLG, and Wadid, who used to be of G2 years ago. So, that was fun to watch. Honestly speaking, just from the pick bands themselves, I appreciate that at both sides of the teams, despite their bands themselves not being, crazy creative, they tend to go around the same kind of flavor. Of, they know what 2 or 3 champions they don't want their opponents to play, and then they just stick to that, and then they just adapt depending on, what the game happened, at least for the first round. Second and third round is a lot more creative for the band. I like it. But I appreciate that they don't ever stick to the same style of composition. Every one of them, even if they take the same... And I'm going to preface this. When I say, the style of compositions, it means what their win conditions. How do they approach leads? So, you may pick Udyr every time, but you might have a front-to-back composition versus a poke composition, siege composition versus, a 1-3-1 versus... And so on and so forth, but still pick, 2 or 3 of the same champions, so long as, the things that you pick around those 2 to 3 champions changes the style of the team. If it doesn't change the style of the team, you're just picking the same thing over and over again. It's easier to read you. And that being said, none of these 2 teams went and picked the same thing over and over again. And I greatly appreciate it. Now, were they particularly good at it? No. I mean, All Knights was more consistent. I've got a lot of... Yeah, this picks it up. All Knights was much more consistent at it, which means that they definitely approached their win conditions in a way that was very surface level. They did not as much preparation in terms of prepping from vision perspectives or setting up waves so that they're able to help within the neutrals based off of how their weaknesses or strengths of the different compositions. And both teams wound up playing a lot like the way that TSM and Evil Geniuses played, primarily by instinct. And not better. This felt very chaotic. And when you go to an international competition, chaos is good. some chaos can actually bring you quite a lot. But I would like some refinement from this. Um, the vision itself is useless in a lot of the cases. They ended up doing a lot of guesswork. A lot of the times, the people are reacting to the fact that, oh, there we go, somebody's coming to gank me, and I didn't know this was happening. Teleports everywhere. Let's go, big fights, and like, that's exciting. These were fun games to watch. I wasn't ever bored. There's always something happening, but nothing was progressing until like one team definitely has a 5 to 6,000 gold lead, and then Baron. Like there's other ways to progress. Like I think the fourth game pictured this best, where All Knights I think was this is the cleanest their game was, and I use air quotes cleanest. Um, that the first 10 to 15 minutes were honestly fairly good. They had a very much a zoning AoE DPS type of composition that allowed them to have an extra set of engage tools because they had Silas stealing the engage tools of their opponent, and it made it hard for Rainbow Seven to like approach them in any way, shape, or form. It was a good drafting. The drafting itself lended to very easy execution to it. It was very simple. It's good forethought, and they used it to its advantage to be able to gain any particular resources that they needed. I just wish that they would not just depend on drafting difference or punishing or like individual skill, because it's not going to translate well in international competition. Now, they have one, maybe two more playoff series to play. If I like the way that All Knights played compared to how Rainbow Sevens played for Worlds, much more. And if the other two teams, Furious Gaming and Infinity Esports, are any better than this, because they are slated as such, then I think this is a pretty good time for Latin America to make a move. They've never really been very gung-ho. Like, they don't make a splash in the international scene. So hopefully this region has bolstered a little bit and they can make a statement. That'd be very nice. But let's not get too ahead. Things that I would like to see changed. I want to see more consistent vision. Not ones that are just like, oh, we're going to clear vision, place vision, where we previously cleared it, where we're around, leave, and do something else on the other side of the map, hoping that maybe that vision will give us some information. No, that's just robotic process. You can clear vision just fine. It helps with some vision denial, so long as you make sure that like the information you're denying is being kept denied, and you're doing other things that force them to not be able to get all the stuff, right? So they don't know that you were in that region and that you might still be in that region from clearing it. But your vision needs to be informing you about the necessary stuff that might happen around your next objective. Like, the one that comes to mind at some point and most of these are from Game 4 that I can remember clearly, because this is the cleanest the game was. Most of the other time they had very sporadic vision that wasn't very consistent. But there was a time where they had pushed into the top lane and set up a litter of wards in the red side, red jungle, only for them to reset and go towards the mid and bot lane to hover around Dragon for who knows how long, and never went back to Baron until most of those wards had been cleared out. They didn't do anything with the vision. They cleared it and placed a bunch of vision up there, resetted, went back, and then just dilly-dallied and didn't gain any information from it. I don't want to see stuff like that again. If I was to give a grade, I gave Rainbow Seven maybe a D+. They weren't much better. They had a lot more creativity in terms of their pick and ban. Like, they had more variety of types of compositions, but more being like 2 is not great. Nor did they show that they had a very solid confidence in the way that they would just, go about their win conditions, even set up for neutral objectives. Both of these teams are just not great at setting up for neutral objectives. Not in the grand scheme of the. I don't know how many teams have we watched. Have we looked at now? Let's see. We have 19 teams. Out of the 19 teams so far that I've seen, these are not the strong. They are definitely on the lower end of quality. Um, if I was to compare All Knights to the teams that are left around, I give them more confidence, or I give them about the same amount of confidence as Detonation Focus me. Um, Not like they have definitely some glimmers of hope, but not enough for me to think that they would make any like big impact against the top 6 teams that would qualify. So like the teams from Vietnam, Pacific, uh, Korea, China, Europe, North America. So clean up your vision game, make it so that it's more useful, more focused, and it has like some aim. Make sure that your win conditions are met more consistently. You can't just focus solely on draft advantages alone for you to just autopilot it. Um, and like work on your neutral objective. I said the same thing for the TSMEG. Like, I can't. I don't want to see again like the moments where you just got one team hovering here, and like one team hovering here, just you know, vying for position back and forth. Maybe you got one sucker who just kind of like roams around somewhere. Like, come on. Positives. I like Wadid. Wadid. I mean, like I like Wadid as just generally as a player. Liked a lot of the way he played, but despite the fact that he has some major blunders in this game, you can clearly tell that he's directing a lot of the ways that they want to approach engages, and or like the ways that they want to approach any team fight, because I think that's the cleanest aspect of All Knight's approach to anything is that they like their punishes against Rainbow Seven, or whenever Rainbow Seven tried to engage against them for a punish, were clear focused, which is crazy coming from a team that has 2 Korean players in roles that don't communicate very often. Like a top player and a support player don't communicate very often, so like the language like consistency is not going to be super great across like the other 3 roles that he has to talk to make sure like the and like they're all probably speaking English fluently, but like learning English as a second language from 2 different core first languages is not obvious. Taking it as somebody who speaks English as a second language, if I was to talk to somebody who speaks English as a second language that like wasn't French as their first language, there's some discrepancies. Like you'll get confused still. So like I think this is awesome. Like this team can do cool stuff. I want to see this team keep going. Um, they're slated. I haven't gotten the chance to look at like what the difference was. Let's see. What was the difference here between the 4 teams? Um, the difference between them was not very big. Huh. You know what? Well, it's pretty big between Furious Gaming and everybody else, but you know what? I'm excited. Maybe this team will be pretty good. Fingers crossed. We'll get to see them again in literally a week, or for me, 6 days. Um, and hopefully they make a splash and there's cleaner attempts to everything. A grade I would give All Knights, I would give them a C plus, close to B minus, but C plus because the vision is really bad. Like guys, I can't like the core aspect of your gameplay needs to freshen up on the vision. Let me know what you guys think. My name again, Sebastian. Leave a comment down about what you think about Latin America. Maybe they have hope to like make it better. then just like bottom of the barrel, maybe they compare to Pacific and Vietnam. Oh, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Time to